Travel has become the great Filipino dream. In the same way that an American dreams of becoming a millionaire or an English boy dreams of going to one of the great universities, the Filipino dreams of going abroad. His most constant vision is that of himself as tourist, to visit Hong Kong, Tokyo, and other cities of Asia, perchance to catch a glimpse of Rome, Paris, or London, and to go to America, even if only for a week in a fly-specked motel in California, is the sum of all delights. Yet having left the Manila International Airport in a pink cloud of despedidas and sampaguita garlands and pabilin, the dream turns into nightmare very quickly. But why? Because the first bastion of the Filipino spirit is the palate, and in all the palaces and flesh pots and skyscrapers of that magic world called abroad, there is no Patis to be had. Consider the Pinoy abroad. He has discarded barong Tagalog or polo for a sleek dark western suit. He takes to the habiliments from Hong Kong Brooks Brothers or Savile Row with the greatest of ease. He has also shed the casual informality of manner that is characteristically Filipino. He gives himself the airs of a cosmopolite to the credit card born. He is extravagantly courteous, especially in a borrowed language, and has taken to hand-kissing and to plenty of American "do you mind?" He hardly misses the heat, the native accents of Tagalog or Ilonggo, or the company of his brown-skinned, cheerful compatriots. He takes, like a duck to water, to the skyscrapers, the temperate climate, the strange landscape, and the fabled refinements of another world. How nice, after all, to be away from good old RP for a change. But as he sits down to meal, no matter how sumptuous, his heart sinks. His stomach juices, he discovers, are much less cosmopolitan than the rest of him. They are much less adaptable than his sartorial or social habits. They have remained in that dear barrio in Bulacan or in that little town in Ilocos, and nothing that is set on the table before him can summon them to London or Paris. There he is in the most expensive restaurant in Europe, surrounded by beautiful women and impeccably dressed men bending over their rich meals. Waiters in black ties and tails stand at his elbow to cater to his smallest wish. An array of glass, silver, ching, and artistic blooms is set before him. An elegant wagon of hors d'oeuvres approaches, pink salmon from Scotland, golden English herring, sensuous anchovies from France, green salad from a Belgian farm, mounds of Italian pasta, Russian caviar on ice, melon halves, stuffed eggs, shrimp smothered in piquant red sauce. At that precise moment, the Pinoy is overcome with a yearning for a mound of white rice, a bowl of sinigang, and a little saucer of patis. What would happen, he asks himself, if I shouted for sinigang na bangus? The thought perishes as he catches sight of the world-weary auteur on the face of the waiter. With a sigh, he applies himself to the foreign delicacies. The herring, after a few mouthfuls, tastes almost like tinapa. The shrimp would be excellent if he had some white sukang iloko to soak it in, but the melon is never half as good as the ones his wife buys from his suki in San Andres. Now he must make another choice. The waiter, with an air of a prime minister approaching a concordat, murmurs something about choosing a soup. The menu is in French, and to be safe, our hero asks the waiter to recommend the specialty of the house. A clear consomme? When it comes, the Pinoy discovers that it is merely the kind of soup Filipinos sip when they are convalescing from typhus or trancazo. Tomato soup is almost an emetic. Onion soup with bits of bread and cheese is too odd for words but palatable. If he is lucky, the waiter brings bouillabaisse with a flourish. A French classic? Nonsense. We Filipinos invented it. It is sinigang, he tells the astonished waiter, only not quite so good as we do it at home. And where, for heaven's sake, is the patis? The entree or the main course is quite another problem. Poulet is chicken. Filet de sole is fish, though recognizable neither as apahap nor lapu-lapu. Tornados is meat done in a barbarian way, thick and barely cooked with red juices still oozing out. The safest choice is steak. If the Pinoy can get it well done enough and sliced thinly enough, it might remind him of tapa. If the waiter only knew enough about Philippine cuisine, he might suggest venison, which is really something like tapang usa, or escargots, which the unstylish poor on Philippine beaches know as snails, or even frog's legs, which are a Pampango delight. But this is the crux of the problem. Where is the rice? A silver tray offers varieties of bread, slices of crusty French bread, soft yellow rolls, rye bread, crescents studded with sesame seeds. There are also potatoes in every conceivable manner, fried, mashed, boiled, buttered. But no rice. The Pinoy learns that rice is considered a vegetable in Europe and America. The staff of life a vegetable. And when it comes, special order which takes at least half an hour, the grains are large, oval, and foreign-looking, and what's more, yellow with butter. And oh, horrors! One must shove it with a fork, or pile it with one's knife on the back of another fork. After a few days of these debacles, the Pinoy, sick with longing, decides to comb the strange city for a Chinese restaurant, the closest thing to the beloved gastronomic country. There, in the company of other Asian exiles, he will put his nose finally in a bowl of rice and find it more fragrant than an English rose garden, more exciting than a castle on the Rhine, and more delicious than pink champagne. To go with the rice, there is siopao, not so rich as at Salazar, pancit guisado reekling with garlic, but never so good as any that can be had on the sidewalks of Quiapo, fried lumpia with the incorrect sauce, and even mami, but nothing like the downtown wonton. Better than a Chinese restaurant is the kitchen of a kababayan. When in a foreign city, a Pinoy searches every busy sidewalk, theater, restaurant for the well-remembered golden features of a fellow Pinoy. But make no mistake, it is only because he is in desperate need of a Filipino meal and, like a homing pigeon, he follows his nose to a Filipino kitchen that is well stocked with bagoong, patis, balat ng lumpia, gabi leaves, and misua. When the Pinoy finally finds such a treasure house, he will have every meal with his kababayan. Forgotten are the bistros and the smart restaurants, the back of his hand to the Four Seasons and the Tour d'Argent. Ah, the regular orgies of cooking and eating that ensue. He may never have known his host before. In Manila, if he saw him again, they would hardly exchange 2 words. But here in this odd barbarian land where people eat inedible things and have never heard of Patis, they are brothers forever. A Filipino may denationalize himself but not his stomach. He may travel over the 7 seas and the 5 continents and the 2 hemispheres, and lose the savor of home and forget his identity and believe himself a citizen of the world. But he remains gastronomically, at least always, a Filipino. For if in no other way, the Filipino loves his country with his stomach,